I missed a message from Victoria Ainsworth because I was working late. The next second, she stormed into my office and, in front of all my colleagues, slapped the divorce papers on my face. "Let's get a divorce. I'm done with you. Sign it now. Ethan Jones is sick, and I need to go to the hospital to take care of him." This was the 99th time Victoria had demanded a divorce from me for Ethan's sake. This time, I was in too much pain to respond immediately. However, a series of comments suddenly appeared before my eyes. "Sincere, why aren't you trying to win her back? Victoria loves you, she just doesn't know how to express it. She doesn't love Ethan at all. Every time she gets close to him and asks for a divorce, it's just to make you jealous. Victoria is only acting like this because she's angry you didn't reply to her message. Just comfort her a little, and it'll be fine." My heart sank. So, Victoria actually loved me? But this kind of love, the kind I couldn't feel, I didn't want it anymore. I took the divorce papers. Fine. Let's get a divorce. 1. Seeing this, Victoria froze on the spot. She never imagined that I, who had always been so subservient, would actually agree to a divorce. This time she screamed at me, in a rage. "Sincere Smith, you'd better not regret this. I'm going to the hospital to take care of Ethan. Don't you dare bother me with that." Victoria slammed the door and left. Just then, another series of comments appeared before my eyes. "Sincere, she's just putting on a brave face. Go after her. If she really didn't want you to bother her, why would she tell you she was going to the hospital? Hurry up and win her back." But this time, I was truly tired. I didn't want to win her back anymore. I wearily got up only to be met by a barrage of taunts from the office gossips. "Sincere, your wife is cheating on you so openly, and you can still put up with it for this long? You're a brave warrior. Aren't you New York's one lapdog? You'll definitely forgive her and go right back to being her doormat, won't you?" A pang of pain shot through my heart. Victoria was always like this, humiliating me in public without a second thought for the consequences. I went home and packed all of my things, but the comments appeared again. "Sincere, don't leave. Victoria really loves you, and that safe is the ironclad proof of her love. The password is even your birthday." My heart skipped a beat. That safe. Victoria never let me open it. Once I tried to open it secretly, but she caught me. She was so furious she dragged me straight to City Hall and filed for divorce. As pathetic as a dog, I knelt on the courthouse steps, begging for her forgiveness until she finally withdrew the application. After that, I never dared to go near that safe again. I had even assumed it was filled with her memories of Ethan Jones. But they were saying the safe held ironclad proof of her love for me. I entered my birthday as the password, and the safe opened. Inside, it was filled with photos of me, candid shots, my graduation photos, vacation pictures, photos from my first day at work. She had captured every important moment of my life. On the desk were magazines I had once recommended to her. She had claimed they were ugly to my face, but behind my back she had bought every single issue. Next to them was a thick diary filled with entries detailing every moment she had loved me. I stared in disbelief, reading it over and over as tears uncontrollably blurred the ink. "Victoria, so you loved me that much? Then what was all that cold violence? What was your ambiguous relationship with Ethan?" The comments continued to defend her. "Victoria is just too insecure. She pushes you away again and again just to test your feelings. Sincere, hurry up and comfort her. She's still at the hospital waiting for you to win her back. If you don't go, you'll break her heart." But this time, I didn't want to comfort her anymore. I finished packing my luggage, planning to leave the next day. When I woke up, I found Victoria sitting by my bed. Her eyes were red, and she stared at me with displeasure. Clearly, she was very unhappy that I hadn't come to get her last night. She ignored me and began changing her clothes, nonchalantly revealing a cluster of fresh hickeys on her collarbone and chest. Although she was only doing this to make me jealous, my heart still clenched in pain at the sight. Seeing my reaction, she was satisfied. A faint smirk touched her lips before she immediately put her icy mask back on. "Sincere, don't think this will soften my heart. This time, I'm determined to divorce you. I absolutely will not withdraw the divorce application this time. As soon as the waiting period is over, I'm getting that divorce certificate." There it was again. Every time she threatened me with divorce, it was the same old lines. But every time before, I had been terrified she was serious, debasing myself to the point of dust. Kneeling, begging, writing apology letters that had been my life for 10 years. I stood up. Victoria shot me a smug look, assuming I would start begging again like always. But instead, I picked up my suitcase, ready to leave. She stared at me in disbelief, her voice trembling. "Sincere, what is the meaning of this?" I looked at her calmly. "Victoria, I agree this time. Let's get a divorce." Victoria stared at me, shocked. But then a thought seemed to occur to her, and she snorted coldly. "Sincere, have you forgotten the last time you ran away from home? You couldn't even last a day before you came back crying and begging for my forgiveness. What, running away again? How long will you last this time? A day or 3? Don't come crawling back to me like a dog again." I ignored her and left without looking back. This time I held my ground. For a whole week, I didn't go to her. Even when she let Ethan provoke me, sending me pictures of their lovey-dovey life together just like before, I didn't go to her. The comments couldn't stand it and started advising me. "Sincere, do you have any idea that Victoria is going crazy missing you? She's been drinking so much she has a bleeding ulcer. She really hates Ethan. She's only being affectionate with him to make you jealous." Even with this omniscient view, I still couldn't believe Victoria would be that heartbroken over me. I remember the day of the university's anniversary celebration. Victoria, as the freshman representative, gave a speech. She was so radiant that even the spotlights seemed like mere accessories. I fell for her at first sight and mustered the courage to give her a love letter. But she read my heartfelt words aloud in public, letting our classmates laugh at me. Then she casually tossed the letter into the trash. From that day on, I was always the subservient one. She didn't like me, rejecting me time and time again, yet I shamelessly kept trying. Even when she constantly compared me to Ethan, I never hated her. I had always believed our relationship was something I had forced, so I was cautious in everything, never daring to defy her. Now, knowing the truth, I just felt like a pathetic clown. I thought we would be completely separated. But then Victoria suddenly showed up at my door. "Sincere, my parents are suddenly sick. They want to see you." I froze for a moment, and she continued, "Sincere, even though we're getting a divorce, the waiting period isn't over, so we're still legally married. Besides, my parents have always been good to you, although I wanted nothing more to do with Victoria. Her parents had indeed treated me well. Out of both emotion and reason, I knew I should visit them." I got into her car. However, she didn't take me to the hospital. Instead, she drove me back to our old university. My heart sank. This place held so many of our memories. This is where we first got together, where we would sneak around after class to avoid the dean, our hugs so shy and innocent. On our wedding day, she spent a fortune to rent out the entire campus green, and we took the most expensive wedding photos in all of New York. Every wedding anniversary after that, we would come back here. Why did Victoria suddenly bring me here? Could it be? I checked the date. It was our wedding anniversary. Was she here to celebrate our anniversary with me? Was this a surprise? Had she finally learned how to love me? Soon the campus green filled with people. There were her relatives and friends, numerous business moguls, and even a host of media reporters. I watched as Victoria walked towards me, my heart pounding erratically. I even started to tell myself that if she treated me well from now on, I would forgive her. She drew closer and closer. I was just about to reach out my hand, but she walked straight past me and took Ethan's hand. In that instant, my heart stopped. The pain was so intense I could barely breathe. Victoria paid me no mind. She intertwined her fingers with Ethan's and walked down the red carpet under the watchful eyes of the crowd. Victoria took the microphone and solemnly announced to everyone, "Today is my engagement ceremony with Ethan Jones. Thank you all for coming to celebrate with us. Ethan and I will be holding our wedding next month, and you are all welcome to attend." Then she picked up a ring and proposed to Ethan with deep affection. "Ethan, will you marry me?" Ethan nodded excitedly, answering, "I will." Victoria carefully placed the ring on his finger, and then they kissed passionately in front of everyone. The crowd witnessed the romantic scene and showered them with blessings. At the same time, their taunts towards me came rushing in like a tide. "I told you, Victoria and Ethan are a much better match." I don't know what she ever saw in Sincere. It was only because Sincere was a shameless pest. See, they're engaged now, and her ex-husband still shows up to cause trouble. Today is Victoria and Ethan's engagement ceremony. What is Sincere doing here? Don't tell me he's planning to crash the wedding? So shameless, look at him, he looks like a pathetic clown. They all pointed and whispered about me. The media even turned their cameras on me, painting me as a delusional man trying to ruin the engagement. I quickly ducked away from the cameras, the sorrow in my heart festering. "Victoria, why are you doing this to me? Why did you trick me into coming here? Why give me hope only to plunge me into despair?" Just then, Victoria noticed my distress. She even took it as a sign of my jealousy, feeling even more pleased with herself. But she didn't know that the moment she took Ethan's hand, the moment she let me be ridiculed by everyone, my feelings for her had completely died. I fled to the restroom in disgrace and locked myself in a stall. I finally broke down, sobbing uncontrollably. But even then, Victoria wouldn't let me be. I heard her pull Ethan into the restroom next to mine. Then came the sounds of their lips meshing, and Victoria's impassioned gasps. Ethan, seemingly aware that I was in the next stall, made his noises particularly loud. Victoria didn't resist. Instead, she kissed him more passionately, tearing at his clothes. Ethan even made several comments specifically to provoke me. "Vicky, I think Sincere is in the next stall. Will he be angry if he hears this?" But Victoria replied nonchalantly, "So what? He's just an ex-husband. I must have been blind to have ever fallen for him. My heart belongs only to you. Don't mind him." Ethan gasped excitedly. "Vicky, you're so good to me." I couldn't take it anymore and coughed up a mouthful of blood, but when they heard me retching, not only did they not stop, they became even more intense. I stumbled out of the restroom and ran. I don't know how far I ran before I collapsed. I knew she was doing it on purpose. She wanted to make me jealous, to make me come back to her like before, to beg her humbly to take me back. But now, all I felt was regret. I hated myself. Why did I always give her the opportunity to hurt me? If I tried to win her back again, I would deserve everything I got after crying for what felt like an eternity. I finally came to my senses and prepared to leave. Just then, Ethan suddenly appeared. He stared at me triumphantly and smiled. "Sincere, why are you hiding here crying all alone? Heartbroken?" He bent down, deliberately showing off the hickeys on his body, and whispered in my ear, "Sincere, do you know how fiercely Victoria was kissing me just now?" I glared at him with hatred, not understanding why he had to come and provoke me. I was about to leave, but he grabbed my wrist tightly. "Sincere, guess how Victoria will punish you if I get hurt." Then he threw himself backward, tumbling heavily down the stairs. I was horrified. Before I could even process what had happened, Victoria appeared and shoved me aside. She cradled Ethan in her arms and glared at me furiously. "Did you push him down?" I shook my head frantically. "It wasn't me. He threw himself down on purpose. He's trying to frame me." But Ethan cried out in pain, insisting that I was the one who pushed him. "Victoria, it was him who pushed me. Because you're going to marry me, he resented it and wanted to kill me." I was about to argue further, but was cut off by a sharp slap from Victoria. "Enough, who else could it be but you? You're jealous of me and Ethan, so you tried to kill him. I know today is the last day of the waiting period, and you don't want to divorce me. You're jealous, but I never thought you could be so vicious if anything happens to Ethan. I will never forgive you then." She ordered her sycophants make him kneel on the field for 8 full hours. I clutched my face, staring at her in disbelief. "Victoria, are you insane?" It's 104 degrees outside, however. I was dragged away by the sycophants and forced onto the rubber track of the sports field. Instantly, my knees blistered from the heat, and I began to show symptoms of heat stroke. Victoria, I told you it wasn't me. Why don't you check the security cameras? Why won't you believe me? Tell them to let me go. My legs are giving out. I struggled ceaselessly, but not only did Victoria not let me go, she ordered the sycophants to use more force. It's just 104 degrees. What's the big deal? I think you're just being dramatic. Stop bothering me. I'm going to buy medicine for Ethan. I know you don't want to divorce me. If you kneel for 8 hours, I might consider withdrawing the divorce application. I watched helplessly as Victoria walked further and further away. I desperately called out for help to the people on the field. My clothes were soaked with sweat from the fever, and I felt dizzy and faint. Just then, the comments flashed before my eyes again. On the surface, Victoria is furious, but deep down she's thrilled because she thinks Sincere is jealous. Actually, Victoria doesn't have the heart to punish Sincere. Nothing happened between her and Ethan. It was all an act to provoke him. But she has to see the act through, so Sincere has to suffer a little. Seeing these comments, I started to wonder if this was all a hallucination. Does Victoria really love me? If she truly loved me, how could she punish me in such a cruel way? I couldn't stop vomiting. Every breath was agony. As my consciousness faded, my breathing grew weaker. But the people on the field, far from sympathizing, clapped and cheered. Serves him right who told you to hurt Ethan. Exactly making. You Neil is getting off easy. A person like you deserves to be dealt with by the family rules. They immediately eyed me menacingly. Hey, if we get revenge for Ethan, don't you think Victoria will be impressed with us? Then, Victoria will surely give our companies more resources. I shook my head frantically, trying to defend myself. It wasn't me. I didn't hurt him. It was all staged. By Ethan, you have no right to do this to me. I'm going to call the police and let them find out the truth. However, I was held down, unable to move. Before I could finish, a whip soaked in salt water landed on my body. I screamed, the pain stealing my breath, but they paid me no mind and brought down the whip a second time. The pain was excruciating. I was covered in blood, trying to escape only to be dragged back and whipped harder. The crowd showed no pity, instead laughing at my pathetic state. I stared at them with hatred, saying word by word, "If Victoria knew you were treating me like this, she would never let you get away with it." But they reacted as if they had heard the greatest joke. "What nonsense are you talking? Everyone knows Miss Ainsworth despises you. She'd be happy to see you get beaten." Exactly. Miss Ainsworth's true love is Ethan. Who do you think you are? Miss Ainsworth is a true New York heiress. Why would she ever like a low-class man like you? Stop dreaming, will you? I was about to lose consciousness. After the extreme heat, my body had reached its limit. Just then, I saw Ethan in a corner, watching me get beaten with a triumphant smile on his lips. I immediately reached out to him. "Ethan, Victoria loves me. You have to make them stop. If I really die here, Victoria won't let you off. If you don't believe me, go look in Victoria's safe. It's full of my pictures." However, Ethan shot me a fierce glare. "How could Victoria possibly love you sincere? Has the beating driven you mad?" The crowd chimed in. "He's been Victoria's lapdog for so long, he started to fantasize about being loved." "Fantasize all you want. The one she loves is Ethan, not you in all of New York. Not a single person believed Victoria loved me." "Victoria, do you see this? You fooled everyone. You succeeded. I lay in a pool of blood. I don't know how long passed before I was found by a security guard and sent for emergency treatment. The first thing I did when I woke up, enduring the pain, was to go to City Hall. Hello, today is the last day of the waiting period. I would like to finalize my divorce. After receiving the divorce certificate, I felt a sense of liberation I had never known before. I deactivated all my contact information, bought a ticket for the next flight, and left that place. Goodbye, Victoria. Meanwhile, Victoria returned after buying the medicine. However, she didn't see me, only a pool of blood on the ground. Her heart suddenly stopped. She asked in disbelief, "Where is Sincere? Where did he go?" Seeing Victoria arrive, the crowd, still oblivious to the gravity of the situation, continued to badmouth me. Miss Ainsworth, that son of a bitch Sincere almost killed Ethan. We taught him a lesson for you exactly. He hurt Mr. Jones so badly. Punishing him with the family rules was letting him off easy if it weren't for that meddling security guard who insisted on taking him to the hospital. We would have beaten him to death. They had expected Victoria to join them in condemning me for Ethan's sake. However, Victoria roared like a madwoman. Who allowed you to beat him like that? Who gave you the nerve? Where is he? Which hospital did he go to? If anything happens to him, I'll make every single one of you pay with your lives. Everyone present was stunned. The people who were just cursing me moments ago didn't dare to breathe a word now. They all exchanged glances, silently urging Ethan to go and talk to Victoria. After all, Victoria loved Ethan so much she would surely listen to him. Besides, he was still holding the medicine she bought for Ethan. Ethan understood their cue. He stepped forward to embrace Victoria, intending to plead with her. However, Victoria didn't even look at him. Instead, she slapped him hard across the face. Who do you think you are? If it wasn't to make Sincere angry, I would never have touched you. In my life, if anything happens to Sincere, I'll have your entire family killed. The bag of medicine slipped from Victoria's hand, revealing its contents. Besides the band-aids for Ethan, there was also a tube of burn cream, clearly bought for me. Blood trickled from the corner of Ethan's mouth. His mind went blank, and he fainted on the spot at that moment. They all panicked. They finally believed what I had said, but it was too late after all. The whip had been broken from use. The man it was used on surely couldn't have survived. Victoria went to the hospital but couldn't find any trace of me. She immediately sent people to investigate my whereabouts, only to discover that my last known location was City Hall. Her heart sank. She rushed over, only to be handed her copy of the divorce certificate. Victoria completely lost her mind. What are you talking about? How could Sincere possibly divorce me? I don't believe it, I don't. I believe it. She took the divorce certificate and tore it to shreds. She walked out with empty eyes, her vision blurring. Sincere? I don't believe it. I don't believe you would divorce me. But it was too late. No matter how much she refused to believe it, it was the truth. At that moment, Victoria's heart was filled with endless regret. Although Ethan had instigated it, she was the true perpetrator. If she hadn't treated me with such cold violence, if she hadn't repeatedly tried to divorce me, if she had just openly expressed her love for me, if she hadn't deliberately put on a show, hadn't proposed to Ethan, hadn't given him so much power, if she had only arrived a little sooner to protect me in her arms, would everything have been different? I fainted after boarding the plane. I was unconscious for 3 days. When I finally woke up, the pain from my wounds was excruciating, and Victoria was there, watching over me. Seeing me in this state, her heart ached. She took a painkiller and carefully fed it into my mouth. Sincere, does it still hurt? I used all my strength to push her away. Victoria, what are you doing here? Get out. I never want to see you again. Victoria looked at me with wounded eyes, holding my hand and confessing frantically, Sincere, I'm sorry, I truly know I was wrong. I was too insecure. I didn't dare to express my feelings, and I was afraid you would stop loving me. So I could only use those hurtful ways to test you. You always wanted to hear me say I love you, right? I'll say it now. I love you. It has always been you. Ethan was just a tool to make you angry. I'm serious this time. I will never threaten you with divorce again. I will never use those hurtful words to test you again. When Victoria said these words, not only was I stunned, but so were the sycophants waiting outside. Victoria had always been incredibly proud. No one had ever seen her so out of control. They had never heard her speak so softly. Not even to Ethan. They were completely panicked. They rushed in with expensive gifts and supplements, kneeling to beg for my forgiveness. Mr. Smith, we were foolish. We believed Ethan's lies and punished you. We deserve to die. We checked the security footage and found out it was all staged by Ethan. It had nothing to do with you. Mr. Smith, thank goodness you're all right, otherwise even death wouldn't be enough to atone for our sins. The same people who had insulted and whipped me were now kneeling like dogs, begging for my forgiveness. I looked at them. They all had wounds of varying sizes, the marks of a whipping. It must have been Victoria's doing. Victoria touched my face. "Sincere, I'll let you deal with these people however you want, anything you wish. Please just don't ignore me, okay?" I dodged her hand. "I don't like to resort to private punishment. Hand them over to the police." They didn't dare to disobey, and immediately went to turn themselves in after all. Falling into the hands of the police was far better than falling into the hands of Victoria. But Victoria kept Ethan behind. Ethan, still thinking Victoria had feelings for him, eagerly approached her. "Victoria, I knew it, you couldn't bear to part with me." However, before he could finish, Victoria ordered her men to drag him to the stairs and push him down hard. "I will make you suffer double." The pain Sincere endured. Ethan stared at her in disbelief, begging for mercy. "Victoria, how can you do this to me? You love me. How could you possibly love that waste of space? Sincere, what does he have that I don't? Look at me, I'm your husband. You even proposed to me." He flaunted the shiny ring in front of us. I closed my eyes, unable to look at him any longer, and Victoria, provoked by him, slapped him right across the face. "Enough, I told you, you were just a tool. I never had any genuine feelings for you with that." She ordered her men to drag Ethan away immediately to be whipped. Ethan was still screaming, refusing to accept this reality. It was only when the whip landed on him, the pain tearing through him, and he saw Victoria busy taking care of me, that he finally accepted the truth with tears. Victoria begged me for forgiveness again and again. She even booked the 10 most expensive banquet halls in front of me, letting me choose whichever I wanted. "Please, Sincere, just take a look. I want to marry you again, okay?" But I refused to even look at her. Victoria's eyes reddened, and a tear fell onto my hand. "Sincere, what will it take for you to forgive me?" I stared at her and said coldly, "Victoria, actually, I did forgive you once, a few days ago. I already knew your secret. I opened the safe, and I saw everything inside. I was determined to leave you, until you brought me to the university and made me think you wanted to celebrate our anniversary. I was truly going to forgive you then, but you took Ethan's hand and made me a laughingstock for everyone. That was the last time I would have forgiven you. You missed that chance, and you will never get another one." After I finished saying this calmly, I finally let go of all my attachments to Victoria. From now on, I would never feel sad for her again. Hearing this, the blood rushed to Victoria's head, and she almost fainted. She never imagined that I had known her secret all along, that I had forgiven her, that if only she had taken my hand and given me a wedding. But she didn't realize it, still focused on provoking me and making me jealous. She had brought this upon herself, missing her final chance. Victoria forced herself to hold me, repeatedly saying she was sorry. "Sincere, please give me one more chance, okay? I really know I was wrong. If you're willing, I'll take you to get our marriage license right now this time, no prenup. I'll give you all my assets, my houses, my cars, everything. I swear I'll only have you from now on. Please just give me one more chance." Then she took out that thick diary. You've already seen it, haven't you?" Even so, she carefully turned the pages, forcing me to examine her love. "Sincere, I actually started liking you a long time ago, 10 years ago, when you tirelessly stuck by my side. I acted annoyed on the surface, but deep down, I was so happy. Look, this was when you first ranked in the top 100 in our grade. I said I didn't care, but I actually looked at your rank before I even checked my own. And when you suddenly fainted at the sports meet, it was me who took you to the infirmary, but I never told you. Also, I have no interest in basketball. I joined the basketball club not because Ethan invited me, but because you were in it. And the chocolates you received on Valentine's Day, I made them by hand, but I didn't sign my name. I didn't dare to reveal my feelings." As she spoke, Victoria couldn't help but cry. I turned my face away, no longer looking at her. "Victoria, please leave." But she stubbornly shook her head. "I won't. I've loved you for 10 years. If I leave, I'll regret it for the rest of my life." I'm sorry, my personality is just too twisted. I was too proud. Everyone said you weren't good enough for me, so I didn't dare to show my love, afraid they would find out. But I was also too insecure. I was afraid that because of my coldness you would stop loving me. So I always pushed you away, hurt you, using that method to test you. I never wanted to divorce you. I never once thought about divorcing you. I don't know why, but after I met you, I became like this. I became sensitive, suspicious, hot and cold, all because I liked you. As Victoria spoke, she suddenly dropped to her knees before me, sincere. From today on, I'm letting go of all my pride. This time, let it be my turn to humbly beg you to stay. Please, give me this chance, okay? I didn't speak, but closed my eyes in pain. Victoria was startled and rushed forward. Darling, what's wrong? Victoria quickly called for a doctor. She was in a panic, terrified of losing me, crying her eyes out. The doctor explained he developed heat stroke from the sun exposure. He was lucky to be revived. He needs to rest well. She was filled with remorse and slapped herself hard. I should die, sincere. It's all my fault. If I hadn't made you kneel, you wouldn't be like this. Victoria immediately called for the best doctors and used the best imported medicine on me. Sincere, be careful, it's hot. She was careful and patient, feeding me, yet still felt it wasn't enough, hugging me tightly. Sincere, I know you hate me. I'm sorry. You hate the heat more than anything, and I still made you kneel under the blazing sun. I deserve to die. Do your knees still hurt? I'm sorry, I was just so confused at that moment. Can you forgive me? But I was in so much pain I had fainted, so naturally I couldn't respond to her. Victoria took care of me for a whole month. Even though she was anemic, she pushed through, not daring to leave my side for a moment. She only breathed a sigh of relief when my complexion finally started to improve. She held me and told me what had happened recently. Those who had subjected me to private punishment were either detained or sentenced. She had thrown Ethan into a club to fend for himself. Victoria continued as before, begging for my forgiveness time and time again, until one day I suddenly relented. All right. Victoria froze. She looked at me in disbelief, her eyes turning red. Sincere, what did you say? I looked at her, smiling. I said, all right. Victoria finally smiled. She hugged me excitedly and cried. It must have been her care during this time that moved me and made me change my mind. Darling, have you finally forgiven me? I love you. Let's get married right now, okay? She held me tightly in her arms, afraid I would run away. And afraid I would change my mind, she quickly brought over the list of banquet halls. Look, which one do you want? The wedding car, the house? What kind do you want? I'll give you whatever you desire. During this time, Victoria had aged considerably from the constant worry and uncertainty. But now, she suddenly glowed with a new radiance, like the young girl she was 10 years ago. Sincere, which one do you like? Pick anyone. I waved my hand dismissively. My eyes are blurry from looking at all these. Why don't you pick for me? Victoria nodded. Okay, you just focus on getting better. I'll take care of everything. I'll make sure it's all perfect with that. She got up and busied herself with the wedding preparations. She handled every single detail personally. On the wedding day, she stood at the altar in her wedding dress, excitedly waiting for my arrival. However, she didn't wait for me. Instead, she received my farewell letter. The letter contained only a few short lines. Victoria, you played me, so I'm playing you back once. I'm gone. Don't look for me. Take care. When Victoria saw this, the shock was so great that she coughed up a mouthful of blood and fainted on the spot at that moment. She finally understood the pain of being given hope, only to have it ripped away. I opened a tavern in a small town in Europe. Life here was peaceful and beautiful, but those long unseen comments suddenly and inappropriately reappeared. Sincere, how could you be so cruel? Victoria almost killed herself because you left. To find you, she used all her connections, working day and night to get news of you. She almost died from exhaustion and ended up in the ICU. During this time, her company has also taken a hit. She hasn't had time to manage it at all, completely focused on finding you. Sincere Victoria has truly broken down. She can't hold on much longer. Could you go back and see her? Reading these comments, my own eyes began to sting. But I really couldn't forgive her. If I could forgive everything, then all the pain I had suffered would have been for nothing. They only knew how to feel sorry for Victoria. What about me? To this day, my scars still ache, especially on rainy days, when the pain is even worse. Why does no one feel sorry for me? Perhaps it's because I don't deserve to be loved. However, 3 days later, I met a woman who was willing to feel sorry for me. At first, I was very resistant to starting a new relationship, but she was very patient. She wasn't hot and cold like Victoria. On the contrary, she gave me a complete sense of security. She introduced me to her parents and friends, proudly presenting me. Her social media was filled with our photos together. She was always willing to express her love. She saw my depression through my paintings and took me to therapy, helping me open up bit by bit.